So students, we are doing a short video here to help you get some perspective from various faculty members, and today it's with Dr. Popovsky, Endicott Popovsky, and we are asking different faculty members to give you some insight into what they would really like to see in a capstone project. So Barbara, the students they've selected their topics now, they're beginning to work on their literature search, they are forming that methodology. Some are struggling with that, narrowing the scope, I think, and I think this is a really important time to hear from some of the faculty members about what it is you really expect and want to see in a capstone project.
I think those are interesting things to think about, because I'm thinking back to my own dissertation, and that was my big problem, was scoping it appropriately for what was expected or what was reasonable for a dissertation, and we're doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
For these students, they've been studying with us for almost 2 years, and for many this becomes like the magnum opus.
Yeah.
And they really want to put all their thoughts together and expound, and you can see the scope increase beyond what we need.
Right.
So I would encourage students to think about reasonable time limits. We're talking about a 3-credit course, and generally you figure that a 3-credit class is 30 hours times 2 or 3. And you have 2 capstone courses back to back. So now you're talking about 180 to 240 hours worth of work. And maybe that would help them scope how big that might be. I mean, 90 hours is a little over 2 weeks. And then, of course, 240 is more than that. But
right,
if you can think about that amount of time, I think it might help you scope a reasonable project. At least that's always been helpful for me to think about how to draw boundaries.
Yeah, and that's an interesting way to look at it too. It's kind of stepping back and saying, okay, when I get out here, have I put in 2,000 hours or, you know.
Well, now having said that,
if
if students want to put in more,
Sure.
of course that's never discouraged, but if you think about what the expectation is for a course like that, I think it helps you be realistic. The other thing, I think, for students, I mentioned when I started to talk that this was an opportunity for them to synthesize what they've learned here in the program. This is really an opportunity to reflect on how all of these infrastructures, some will be doing more than one infrastructure. They're going to be integrating everything they've learned in the tools that we've taught them. And so how does that all come together? It's an organizing period for them as they graduate. This also might even be a calling card for them if they go on to look for work. This is something you put on your resume. I know I've done that, my master's thesis or capstones. It's a resume item, and it could be a lead up for them in terms of how to have a conversation with a potential employer. So I've noticed that a couple are really giving some thought to, wait a minute, can I live with this topic? We have 6 infrastructures, and I've picked A or A and B. And can I really live with that? Is that what I want to do? And I think that's a reasonable question to ask, because this likely is going to lead to other projects outside the school. Beyond.
Great. Well, that's very helpful. So students, it's manage that scope, make sure that it is manageable in terms of the time that you have to use with this. Use it as an opportunity to synthesize what you're learning, and think about it as a calling card. I think those are 3 great points. Thank you very much, Barbara.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you.